the reasons why older adults continue to wake up at 3 in the morning and what it really means for your health and sleep. You're senior. Did you ever wonder why so many people in their later years get up at 3 in the morning? And it seems like I am unable to get back asleep. There is a possibility that you may lie there in the stillness and darkness, staring at the ceiling, and wondering what is wrong with either your body or your mind. The fact is that this is more prevalent than you believe, and it is not just a random habit or a result of becoming older. In this video, we are going to explore 5 powerful reasons why people have a tendency to wake up about 3 in the morning as they become older and what those early morning wake-ups might be trying to tell you. Each reason exposes something deeper about your body, your health, and the experiences you've had in your life. By the time you reach the conclusion of this movie, you might have a completely different perspective on your sleep. These aren't simply explanations on the surface level either. We'll talk about changes in hormones, sleep patterns, health difficulties, and even emotional and social factors that could be silently working behind the scenes. And we'll do it in a way they have their origins in genuine physiology, psychology, and the rhythms of aging, which the majority of people aren't even aware of. Being honest, empowering, and sincerely respectful of the life you've lived up to this point. So, if you've ever found yourself waking up at 3 in the morning, how would you feel about that? Are you wondering why you are in the proper spot at this moment? Stay tuned until the very end, because the information that you discover here may not only assist you in getting a better night's sleep, but it may also assist you in better comprehending and appreciating what your body is going through at this very now. In the first place, one of the most obvious reasons why older folks wake up in the middle of the night, typically about 3 in the morning, is because of a decrease in the production of melatonin, which is a natural process that occurs with advancing age. When you were younger, your body probably produced a strong and steady amount of melatonin each night, which allowed you to enjoy long stretches of deep, uninterrupted rest. However, as you get older, your body begins to produce less of it, and this shift can have a real impact on how soundly you sleep. You may still be able to fall asleep easily at night, especially if you've had a full day or a relaxing evening. But by the early hours of the morning, at 2 o'clock, you may find that you are unable to maintain your sleep. Melatonin is the hormone that helps regulate our sleep-wake cycle. It is often referred to as the body's internal clock. Melatonin plays a key role in helping you fall asleep and stay asleep. 3 a.m. and sometimes even 4 a.m. That natural supply of melatonin can dip too low to keep you in that restful state. You may find yourself waking up not because of a loud noise or a dream, but because your brain is slowly shifting back toward wakefulness without enough melatonin to hold you in sleep. This isn't something you're doing wrong, and it doesn't mean your body is failing. It simply means your internal chemistry is changing with age. What's more, the bedroom environment can make this effect worse. Even small amounts of light, such as a street lamp outside the window, a blinking clock on the nightstand, or a hallway light under the door, can suppress melatonin even further. As you get older, your body becomes more sensitive to environmental triggers, which can make that 3 o'clock in the morning wake-up feel even more frustrating. Take for example Harold, who is now 72 years old and has always considered himself to be a good sleeper. Around 3:15 in the morning, he finds himself totally awake most evenings. The moment he realized that this was not a failure on his side but rather a normal component of aging that is connected to melatonin, he no longer experiences feelings of anxiety or upset. Instead, he is completely aware, as if it were time to begin the day. He stopped blaming himself and began making modifications to his routines. He now makes his bedroom darker, avoids screens for an hour before going to bed, and goes for a short walk in the evening to maintain his natural circadian rhythm. These minor adjustments assist communicate to his body that it is still nighttime, And while he still wakes up early sometimes, he's learned to work with his body instead of against it. This kind of understanding can be a game changer when you know that waking up early might not be your fault but rather a natural chemical shift. You can take steps to support your sleep instead of resenting your body. That's the power of awareness. It turns frustration into compassion, and it helps you make wiser choices about how you care for yourself at night. Number 2. Shifted sleep cycle and advanced sleep phase. Another significant reason older adults tend to wake up around 3 a.m. is due to a natural shift in the body's internal clock, a phenomenon known as advanced sleep phase. As we age, our circadian rhythms start to move forward, which means we may begin to feel sleepy earlier in the evening and wake up earlier in the morning. You might notice yourself nodding off during a late-night movie or waking up without an alarm at dawn, even on days when you wish you could sleep longer. This shift isn't just a matter of habit, it's deeply rooted in biology, and it can become more pronounced with each passing year. In younger years, the body's rhythm is often aligned with a later bedtime and a wake-up time that feels more in sync with the sun, but as this rhythm advances, the sleep window naturally shifts forward. You may fall asleep at 9 p.m. or even earlier without intending to, which means your body has already gotten its full cycle of rest by the time 3 a.m. rolls around. That's why you might find yourself wide awake in the middle of the night, feeling as though your rest is complete even if it's still pitch dark outside. This doesn't mean there's something wrong with you, it just means your body is operating on a different schedule. Now think of it like a clock that's been gently reset over the years, ticking ahead a little bit more each season. And while this isn't harmful, it can be frustrating if your lifestyle, family routine, or personal preferences don't align with this new rhythm. There's also a quiet psychological side to this change. Many older adults live in quieter households or spend more time alone, and that peaceful environment can amplify the body signals to wind down earlier in the day without the constant activity or noise that might have once delayed bedtime. Your system begins its nightly shutdown process much sooner, and if you're no longer working full-time or following a strict daily routine, the lack of external time cues like meetings, commutes, or social gatherings can make this internal shift even stronger. Let's take a look at someone like Charles, who's 68 and retired. He often eats dinner around 5:30 p.m. and watches television for an hour before heading to bed by 9 p.m. At 3 in the morning, he is sound asleep. It is natural for his body to be prepared to wake up. In the beginning, he believed that he was suffering from sleeplessness. However, after learning about the advanced sleep phase, he no longer experiences feelings of anxiety or worry. He realized his sleep wasn't broken, it was simply rescheduled. Charles began adjusting his evening routine to stay up just a little longer, reading a book with a warm light, taking a gentle walk after dinner, and occasionally calling his daughter for a quick chat before bed. These small social and sensory cues helped stretch his sleep window just enough to shift his wake-up time closer to morning. The result: fewer 3 a.m. This natural shift in sleep cycle is something that many older adults experience, but very few talk about. Understanding it can remove a great deal of guilt or confusion and offer a more compassionate way to work with your body instead of fighting it. Therefore, if you are waking up around 3 in the morning and it feels like you have had a full night's sleep, it is possible that your body is simply on an earlier schedule now. Once you are aware of this, you can begin to shape your routine in ways that support your well-being. If you are still watching this video and find these insights helpful, please leave a comment number 2 below to let me know that you are here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend that you subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell so that you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue to provide you with more content like this. Is the body's response to physical discomfort or underlying health issues that tend to appear during the peaceful hours of the night? This is another prevalent reason why older folks wake up about 3 in the morning. As we get older, the chances of dealing with chronic conditions or subtle health problems increase, and many of these conditions have a way of disrupting sleep without sounding loud alarms. They creep in quietly, like a sore joint, a full bladder, or a sudden twinge in the back, and that's often enough to bring you out of a restful state right in the middle of the night. Conditions like arthritis, for example, can make lying in the same position for hours uncomfortable. You may not notice the discomfort when you first fall asleep, but after several hours of stillness, those aches can build up enough to nudge you awake. For others, nighttime acid reflux may stir them from sleep. especially if they've eaten dinner too late or reclined too soon after eating. Even something as seemingly simple as dry mouth muscle cramps or a slight change in room temperature can trigger a light awakening around the early morning hours when your body's defenses are already more sensitive and less forgiving than they used to be. One of the most common physical reasons older men wake up at 3 a.m. is the need to urinate. As we age, the bladder becomes less elastic and the urge to relieve it can come on faster and more frequently. You might not feel it during the day when distractions keep your mind occupied, but at 3 a.m. in a dark and quiet room, that sensation becomes impossible to ignore. And once you get up and move around, even if it's just to the bathroom, your body may have already shifted from deep rest to light alertness, making it harder to return to sleep. There's also the issue of medications, which many older adults take regularly for blood pressure, heart health, or pain management. These medications often come with side effects like frequent urination, changes in body temperature, or increased sensitivity to noise or light that can silently affect sleep. You may not even realize the connection between your medicine and your sleep pattern until someone points it out or you begin tracking your habits more closely. Take Eleanor, for instance, a 76-year-old woman who has always been a relatively light sleeper. After months of thinking it was just aging, she spoke with her doctor and discovered that one of her medications was affecting her hydration levels and increasing her nighttime trips to the bathroom. With her doctor's help, she adjusted the timing of her dosage, added a few lifestyle changes, and now wakes up less frequently and returns to sleep more easily when she does. The important thing to remember here is that physical wake-ups don't mean your body is failing. There are actually signs that your body is still doing its job. These signals can direct you toward better care, more informed decisions, and a stronger sense of trust in your own consciousness. Waking up at 3 in the morning is an example of how these signals can guide you. May feel like an inconvenience, but it can also be a quiet nudge to tune in, check in, and make small changes that support better health and deeper rest. Number 4. Lifestyle habits that shift your sleep rhythm. Another powerful but often overlooked reason older adults find themselves awake at 3 a.m. lies in long-standing daily habits, small routines and choices that over time quietly reshape your internal rhythm. Many older adults naturally begin eating dinner earlier, winding down sooner in the evening, and experiencing less physical activity during the day. These seemingly minor adjustments accumulate and can signal to the body that the night should begin earlier, which inevitably pushes the wake-up time earlier to when your days become quieter. Especially after retirement, your body no longer receives the same external cues it once relied on, like commuting, running errands, or engaging in physically or mentally stimulating tasks. Without those cues, the body's sleep-wake cycle may begin to drift forward. A calm, dimly lit evening with minimal stimulation can cause your brain to produce melatonin earlier, inviting sleep before you've even realized the clock has struck 9 p.m. And once you're asleep earlier, your body simply finishes its rest earlier, waking up in those still pre-dawn hours, often right around 3 a.m. There's also a subtle relationship between food timing and sleep quality. Eating dinner early, while generally healthy, can sometimes lead to a dip in blood sugar levels overnight, especially if there's no light snack before bed. That dip may not feel like hunger, but it can still rouse the body from sleep. Similarly, caffeine consumed even in the early afternoon can linger in your system, especially as the metabolism slows with age, subtly lightening your sleep and making you more susceptible to waking up at any disturbance. For someone like Walter, who's 74 and recently retired, these changes crept in gradually. His days became less structured and his evenings more relaxed. His entire pattern had shifted a few hours earlier before long, and he found himself having supper at 5 o'clock, falling asleep in his recliner while watching the evening news, and going to bed before 9 o'clock most evenings. He was unaware of this change until it was too late or too early. He started waking up around 3 in the morning, perplexed as to why he was wide awake before the birds even started singing. After analyzing his pattern, Walter started making some minor alterations, like as going for a short walk in the afternoon, reading in stronger light in the evening, and avoiding taking naps after supper. These changes helped push his natural sleep window just a bit later, allowing his body to settle into a rhythm that aligned more closely with his ideal wake-up time. What's remarkable is how often we overlook the power of routine. Our bodies crave rhythm, daily patterns that act like signals telling the brain when it's time to rest and when it's time to rise. As those signals weaken or shift, the internal body clock can lose its bearings, leading to earlier and more fragmented sleep. But by noticing these patterns and making thoughtful adjustments, it's possible to gently guide the body back to a sleep cycle that feels more restorative and less disrupted. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5. Emotional and psychological restlessness. Sometimes waking up at 3 a.m. has less to do with the body and more to do with the mind. As we grow older, emotional layers that were once buried by the busyness of daily life can start to surface in the quiet of the night. These early morning hours, when the world is still and distractions are few, often become the stage where unspoken worries, regrets, or longings begin to stir. You may find yourself lying awake not because of noise or pain, but because your mind is quietly sorting through memories, unresolved thoughts, or subtle anxieties you didn't realize were still with you. This kind of restlessness is different from the full-blown anxiety that might strike in youth. It's quieter, more reflective. It can feel like a soft hum in the background, a sense that something is unsettled even if you can't quite name it. The mind, when not actively engaged, often reaches backward into old relationships, past decisions, losses endured, or words left unsaid. And because the body's no longer rushing from one responsibility to another, there's space for those thoughts to echo a little louder. It's also important to recognize that loneliness can play a role here. For many older adults, social circles shrink with time. Children move away, friends become busy, and routines change. The daytime might be filled with light and activity, but nighttime brings quiet, and with it an awareness of that emo. This form of loneliness does not always seem heavy. Sometimes it manifests itself as a simple need for connection or a slight longing for someone to talk to when the home is calm. Take, for example, Gloria, who is 80 years old and has been widowed throughout the day. Around 3 in the morning, she is keeping herself occupied by caring to her garden, calling her grandchildren, and watching her favorite shows. While she is awake, she frequently finds that her thoughts are returning to certain situations. Whether she was worried or not, she shared with her late spouse. Gloria began keeping a small journal by her bed when she woke up. She sometimes writes down whatever is on her mind. At first, she thought that something was wrong with her sleep. However, as time went on, she came to realize that her early waking wasn't about sleep at all. It was her heart asking to be heard in order to support herself. Gloria began keeping a journal by her bed when she woke up. It's nothing grand, simply a few honest thoughts. She also added a calm nighttime routine, such as listening to soft music or writing a short note to a friend. These small acts of reflection and connection provided her with a gentle outlet for her feelings, which in turn helped her mind relax and fall asleep more comfortably. When it comes to remembering things, the human heart does not adhere to a strict timetable. It remembers what it wants to remember. It asks the questions it needs to ask. And it sometimes does all of this at 3 in the morning, when everything else is silent. But that is not a flaw. If you find that you wake up and feel contemplative, that is an indication that you have reached a deeper level of understanding. It could be a sign that you are carrying wisdom that is ready to be acknowledged. You have lived through both joys and heartbreaks, and those experiences have shaped not only your memories but also your very sense of who you are. Instead of viewing these wake-up calls as something that needs to be fixed, try approaching them with curiosity and kindness. What is your mind trying to tell you? What is it that you require in order to give voice to an aspect of yourself that requires a little grace even when it is dark? Sometimes the most meaningful kind of rest comes not from ignoring these moments but from honoring them. In doing so, you may find not only better sleep but a richer understanding of yourself in this stage of life. Final thoughts as we wrap up this video: take a quiet moment to reflect on what you've just heard. What resonated with you the most? Was it the shift in your internal clock, the subtle changes in your health, or perhaps something deeper, an emotional rhythm that only shows itself when the world is still? Each of these 5 reasons offers a different lens through which to understand your early morning wake-ups, and none of them point to something wrong or broken. In fact, they each reveal how deeply your body and mind are still working, still responding, still adapting. As you move through this wake-ups as a nuisance, you might begin to see them as messages, gentle signals reminding you to listen a little more closely to your needs, your habits, and your heart. You're not alone in this experience, and you're certainly not the only one searching for answers. But with insight comes strength, and with strength comes the freedom to make small, meaningful changes that support better rest, deeper comfort, and a stronger connection to your own rhythms. If you've recognized yourself in any of these reasons today, know that you're not just aging, you're evolving, and with that evolution comes a chance to rest more intentionally, to care for yourself more gently, and to greet each morning with a bit more understanding and peace. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. Therefore, do not be reluctant to share them with us. Reading your comments provides us with a great deal of motivation and encouragement. If you are the one who has learned that getting up at 3 in the morning is a good thing in older individuals is not necessarily an indication of major health problems, rather, it may be the consequence of natural changes in the body, such as a decrease in the production of melatonin, a shift in the circadian rhythm, minor health concerns, or lifestyle choices. There is also the possibility that psychological variables, such as worry or loneliness, are contributing forces. By gaining an understanding of these factors, older individuals are able to make adjustments to their routines and improve their self-care, which eventually leads to an improvement in the quality of their sleep and their mental well-being. If you found this video to be helpful and enjoyed it, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. Your support enables us to continue producing high-quality material that will inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video.